Welcome to all mga Senyores, Inyo, Pamatii, a video podcast on Komposos and conceptual metaphors, the show where we have a talk that touches on the fascinating fields of both language and culture.
Get ready to dive deep into Komposos and conceptual metaphors, uncovering insights, stories, and whole new perspectives.
Whether you're an Ilonggo culture enthusiast, a language enthusiast, or simply curious about Komposos and conceptual metaphors,
you're in the right place.
I am Johanna Kayanan.
I am Patricia Jane Trujillo.
I am Felicia Jen Alcazar.
And I am Angelic Chorus, and we will be your hosts and partners in exploring the interesting topic of Komposos from the conceptual metaphor angle. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and let's embark on this journey together.
If this is your first time tuning into our series and you are curious about what exactly a Komposo and the conceptual metaphor is, feel free to check out the first episode of our 3-part video podcast series through the link in the description below.
This is the third and final part of our short podcast series, and for this episode, we will tackle the conceptual metaphors embedded in the lyrics of the Komposo, Dako Gid Nga Handom by another talented Ilonggo composer, Sir Rolando Garcia.
Mr. Garcia currently resides in Concepcion, Iloilo with his wife and has 11 children. He started his singing career as a haranista at Aksyon Radio in 1994 and experienced performing for Bombo Radio and RMN as well. Throughout his career, he recorded multiple songs on CDs that have reached up to 5 volumes. Mr. Garcia's songs are very popular with overseas Filipino workers reaching countries as far as the United States, Hong Kong, and Canada. His komposos include Makitid Nga Dalan, Ginapahidlawan, Kasagingan, and Doble Doble. Currently, he is one of the haranistas that perform every Sunday at the RMN radio program Harana.
Our Manok Komposos never disappoint, do they?
It's not hard to imagine that talented people must be behind these songs since they are so well written and entertaining to listen to.
Speaking of listening, I know we're all looking forward to the part where we got to listen to our talented composer performing his song. So without further ado, we give you Dako Gid Nga Handom by Sir Rolando Garcia.
Dala pag-abot sa kung ito man gid ang kasadya, o naging patindugan balay sinanaya. Mapaeskwela ang manghod, mapaeskwela ang manghod, nga siya lang ang pag-asa. Ang kabuhi karon madamo gid sang tentasyon, ang sulay na nuktok sa iya tagipuson. Nakakita sa foreigner kagilayon gibaton, kayang hando makapukas, kayang hando makapukas sa kapigadohon. Oli nakabugtaw siya lang gali ginakwartahan, sang toso na foreigner dalagali kabiguan. Tungod sang iya gugma wala tuong kautangan, kaupod sang iya handom ang foreigner dawaso nga nangindolaan. Sa sobra nga problema obra yagin pabayan, ang amo nga insik swala sa iyaga singgitan. Pobre man nga dalaga, problema di malotsan. Nadunaan sang trabaho, nadunaan sang trabaho, tiinti pang nadangtan. Ang ginabasor subok, ang tuso gid nga sulay. Mahuyan nga balatyagon, siya ang ginpanulay. Kunyari ng kuntani, nagapalanggang sinanay. TNT wala madangatan, TNT wala madangatan kung sa iya may nagalaygay. Mangin leksyon tani ini sa mahuya nga kauturan. Panginhas sa abroad ang dapat sa kaisipan. Kay ang mga pag-abroad may mga katapusan. Magsupot sang kwarta para sa pamilya, magbalik sa dutang natawhan.
So, to narrow down what the song tells, and for those who can't understand Hitigaynon, the song basically tells of an OFW story where the woman here goes to Hong Kong with a dream of alleviating their family from poverty, to build a house for her mother and support her siblings' education. Then, she meets a foreigner and falls in love, only to find out that she was only pursued because of money, and she then ends up being a TNT with no one to lean on. There, she remembers her mother and wishes she was with her to help her sort out her problem.
Indeed, these musical compositions never cease to entertain. Doesn't it make you so proud to be an Ilongga?
It definitely does.
And now, it's time to proceed to the next segment of our podcast, the discussion of embedded conceptual metaphors.
So the first line of the song is where we will start, and it goes, Dako Gid Nga Handom akong gindala, which translates to, I carried my big dreams. Here, the conceptual metaphor which can be derived is, dreams are luggages, where we will find out that the concept of dreams is being explained in terms of the concept of luggages.
These two concepts have a very good connection, since first, they are both portable as we observe how people bring luggages during their journeys, and dreams are also carried by people during their lifetime. Second, luggages hold essential and valuable things for travelers, just as dreams hold a person's precious aspirations and desires. Third, luggages come in various sizes, just like dreams vary person to person, since some people have big dreams while others have smaller scale ones. Fourth, both luggages and dreams can be affected by external factors. For instance, luggages can be damaged or even lost in transit, just as dreams can change due to the influence of the people's feelings and experiences.
Wow. What do you think, Chel? Do you carry big luggages with you or just like the small ones?
If by that you mean dreams, then you better believe I have some big ones with me. I'm an optimistic person, you know.
Well, that's good to hear.
The next line we will examine is, Ang sulay na noktok sa iya tagipusoon, which translates to, the devil knocked on her heart. From this line, we can draw up the conceptual metaphor, heart is a door, where the concept of heart is explained using the concept of door. Like with the previous metaphors, this one also uses concepts with a high level of likeness.
First, they are both characterized by accessibility. As much as doors can be opened or closed, a person can also open their heart or be understanding and loving to a person, or like close off their hearts, like in other words, be distant or cold towards a person. Doors and hearts create opportunities for connection, such that open doors give way to interaction between people and open hearts give way to the beginning of relationship.
Besides accessibility, both doors and hearts represent change and choice. Doors were created with the capability of being closed and open, so it's always dynamic. Likewise, people can choose who to keep in and out of their hearts, showing that both doors and hearts are prone to change and not stagnant.
You know, this makes me wonder if our dear listeners have problems with the people they let in and out of their hearts too.
What's life without a little drama and romance, right? Anyway, I wish our dear listeners success in their own pursuits of love.
To continue this talk of love, let's move on to the next conceptual metaphor, love is a heart, which we also derive from the line, Ang sulay na nuktok sa iya tagipusoon, which is supported by the succeeding line, nakakita sang foreigner kag hilayon ginbaton. These two lines translates to the devil knocked on her heart. She met a foreigner and easily accepted him.
The metaphor love is a heart is directly connected to the previous one we discussed. Heart is a door because in the metaphor heart is a door, heart also connotes love. This is a commonly used metaphor because it has long become a convention for people to relate their feelings with the human heart, despite the fact that emotions are actually a product of the brain. This is because the heart is the vital organ that pumps blood into the body and thus keeps us alive. Our feelings are what leads us most of the time, making them extremely important to us, and so it is related to the heart, which is an organ of utmost importance.
I bet all this talk of love and matters of the heart is really holding the attention of our dear viewers. Don't you think so?
Well, I don't blame them. I mean, these are all very intriguing topics.
Then, we have another interesting conceptual metaphor. Socioeconomic status is a ladder that can be derived from the lines, ang handom makapukas sa kapigaduhon, which translate in English as, for the dream was to rise in poverty. So, what do you think is the key word there?
Rise, right? When we use the word rise, it suggests that there's something lower and higher. So here in our song, the line suggests that there is an up and a down, just like a ladder. And also, the song utilized the word poverty, and it says to rise from poverty. It basically means that just like ladder can be climbed, the persona is trying to rise in the economic status, to be wealthy or to be rich. So to visualize, the lower steps of the ladder are the lower class. The middle steps are the middle class, and the higher steps are the upper class. What a comparison, isn't it? Moving on, another conceptual metaphor that can be derived in the same line is poverty is a trap. So when we say poverty, it means he or she is lacking financial resources and means, right? Which would definitely mean that the certain person is having a hard time. Now, when we say poverty is a trap, is it in the sense that when someone is trapped, there is this feeling of helplessness and hard time, the hardship. Poverty makes people feel trapped in something that they could hardly escape. How sad is that, isn't it?
Okay, so the next, kaupod sang iya handom, ang foreigner daw aso nga nangin dulaan, which actually manifests that the conceptual metaphor is like people are small.
I think that sounds a bit like being ghosted, right?
Oh yeah. Well, this because sometimes people are unpredictable. One moment they are right here and then they're gone.
It really feels like being ghosted for me.
Yeah, and to add person, smoke can be connected because people come and go, and smoke appears and then vanishes into thin air.
Definitely true. Now, down to our last conceptual metaphor, we have problem is a maze, which was implied in the line, pobre nga dalaga, problema di malutsa. So just for a little context, this is an accord to the situation now of the OFW being at TNT in Hong Kong. So now imagine a maze.
I kind of pictured a maze runner. Sorry.
Oh, that's right. With walls and barriers as if there's no way to escape, right? The challenges of this maze, its complexities could be similar to the way we feel when we have a problem, right? As if the problem has concrete walls that we feel we can't escape. So a solution would definitely be to strategize, critical thinking. Thus, solving a maze or getting out of it would also be like solving a problem or finding a solution.
Oh, I see what you mean, and I agree.
Well, before we end, we would like to leave our dear listeners with a short snippet of our interview with Mr. Garcia.
Our question for him was, what can Komposos contribute to our society? And this was his answer.
Mga makabuligid ya ka makatagid ya kalipay sa mga katawhan kung mamati lang sana ang mga parehas namon nga mga kuan abi ang ginaharanan ginakuan no. Puro kayo din ko ang ginakuan mo te sa mga uling tubos mo wala na iya din na pana. Tamo na gani nga pagi sambahanon amat-amato naman nga pabalik bala. Ang sang una. Ano na sa mo ipamuklat sa uling tubo subong kung ano ang ginikuan sa tum una dapat amo ang kuan na entari nila. Pero subong mga uling tubo subong bastos pagkakita sa mo sa lasahon nga gani sa danan. Tiko sa way rumakik pa.
Sila pa mahiso.
Pero sang amon sa una ya pagka alas 6 na ya why ka na ya ting makita ya nga bata nga nagalagaw daw sa lansangan na. Tipo na kami na ya sang ginikanan namin sa balay. Daso ko na dai kakaroon niya ang ginatudlo dai na para sa sunod na sila sa babang man pag-itsubong.
To give context for those of us who don't know Hiligaynon, Mr. Garcia emphasizes how Komposos bring joy to listeners, which is especially important as we face the harsh realities of life. Komposos also serve as eye-openers to the youth of this generation who don't seem to take interest in the way of life of their predecessors anymore.
Mr. Garcia points out that today's youth have the tendency to be more insensitive and sometimes even rude to their elders. They are no longer like the older generation who don't even stay out late and prefer to be at home with their family. Komposos help them to learn the good values of the older generation. So I think that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Ilonggo Komposos and conceptual metaphors.
We hope this conversation has sparked new ideas and perspectives.
Stay tuned for more enriching discussions in the future.
Until next time, keep delving into the intricate layers of language and culture. Salamat, Gid!